This is your Barbados Today morning news update for Wednesday, August the 15th. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. Topping the news at this hour, cabinet ministers and parliamentary secretaries have been given a pay increase. The House of Assembly last night passed the Ministers and Parliamentary Secretaries Remuneration Order 2018 without debate. This followed the earlier approval of a 5% salary hike for public servants that cost the Treasury some $60 million. Teachers, part-time public officers, staff of the House and Senate, the Governor General, personal assistants to ministers, government pensioners, press secretary, executive personal secretary, and the private officer to the Prime Minister also benefited from hike in salaries and allowances. Meanwhile, leading off debate on the Fiscal Incentive Repeal Bill, Minister of International Business and Industry, Ronald Toppin, reported to the House that the former Speaker, Michael Carrington, an attorney at law, charged the state-owned Barbados Investment and Development Corporation, BIDC, legal fees for work done, which were more than twice the scale of fees permitted for lawyers. Toppin revealed that the total bill to the BIDC was $12.4 million, but when he did his own calculation, it would not have reached $350,000. Still in news from the House, Minister of Small Business, Entrepreneurship and Commerce, Dwight Sutherland, has stoutly defended the trade unions and workers in the public service in light of the treatment he said was meted out to them by the former government.
Workers will not produce if they are unhappy. Workers will not produce at the optimum if they are not motivated. Workers will not produce if they believe their concerns are not being addressed or even heard. And workers will not produce if we as a government do not address the ease of doing business in the country, because they too are caught up in the bureaucracy of not getting things done.
The Chamber of Commerce has swiftly rebuffed a minister's call to match the government's 5% pay rise for public workers. President of the Barbados Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Eddie Abed, says the time is not right for a pay rise. Minister of Transport and Works, William Duguid, urged the private sector to join the government as the House passed the Public Service General Order 2018, a 5% increase across the board for public workers to be applied from the beginning of the financial year in April 1st to March 31st, 2019. Arguing that a pay rise would trigger an anticipated spike in business, Duguid said it was only fair that private enterprises pass on some of the proceeds to workers. In other news now, some of the first Barbadians to meet and greet cruise visitors off the ship, vendors and taxi drivers, say the tourists are tired of what the island has to offer and want to see in a product reboot. The service providers responded with little surprise to the government's bleak outlook for an industry that has seen cruise passenger spending and visitor satisfaction plummet over the last decade. They gave Barbados Today first-hand confirmation of an industry in a state of deep crisis, as portrayed Saturday by Tourism Minister Kerry Simmons. Craftspeople at the Pelican Village want the handicraft shopping center located on the edge of the Bridgetown port to be moved from the periphery of the visitor experience to become a national arts center, with Simmons announcing that a National Cruise Development Commission was to be introduced early next month to overhaul the industry. Proprietor Aziza Onifa said she hoped the Pelican Village would not be forgotten. And taxi operator Andrew McCaskey suggested that his colleagues, long seen as the bottom of the cruise industry totem pole, want in on the conversation on new policies to save the cruise industry.
Business for the taxi men right now is very, very slow. Right now, this is the worst point and the worst time in taxi work in my 28 years. I've been doing this for 28 years, right? Okay. Well, let me start with the gas first. Right now, we're putting double the amount of money in gas daily, right? And the prices ain't going up. The prices are going up. Even when you charge people the normal price, people still trying to cut your price. So right now we're operating at a total loss. We have to do maintenance on our vehicles. We can't park the car and go in the office and sit down. We got to be on the road every minute of the day, actually, right? Anyhow, crop over this year was very, very low key for us. I don't know what the people that have the big venues and the big events at these venues, then the people that make the money. But for taxi men, we ain't make no money.
In sports now, the Jamaica Talawas beat the St. Lucia Stars last night in Kingston by 6 wickets as the 2018 Caribbean Premier League competition continued. The Stars made 175 off their allotted 20 overs, and the Talawas replied by scoring 176 for 4 in 19.4 overs. The Talawas will play the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots this evening in Kingston.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Welcome back with news from the region now. Prison officers in Trinidad have put the Public Service Commission on notice that its time is running out for it to make good on the long-awaited assessments and promotions for them. President of the Prison Officers Association, Sir Ron Richards, says his membership is disenchanted and fed up. Renessa Cutton of TV6 News reports.
The last time assessment was done in the Trinidad Prison Service was sometime in 2011.
In every post across all levels of the prison service, there are vacancies. Hundreds of them, says the Prisons Officers Association. It's accusing the Commission of dragging its feet while the productivity of the service is being affected.
There is a need to move quickly on this matter. This matter has the ability to undermine the overall performance of officers in the prison service. It is already doing that. Officers have already begun to drop their hands simply because they believe no matter how they perform, they are not being recognized and they are not being given their just due.
The last merit list was generated in 2016 but has since expired, as in 2017 the Commission introduced a new general order which made several changes to the marking mechanism for promotions.
And on the international scene, the State Attorney General of Pennsylvania says Roman Catholic priests sexually abused thousands of children over a 70-year period and silenced victims through the weaponization of faith and a systematic cover-up campaign by their bishops.
And I'm here, finally, to announce the results of a 2-year grand jury investigation into widespread sexual abuse of children within the Catholic Church and the systematic cover-up by senior church officials in Pennsylvania and at the Vatican. The grand jury uncovered credible evidence of sexual abuse against 301 predator priests. Over 1,000 child victims were identified by our investigation, though the grand jury notes that they believe that number was in the thousands. It was child sexual abuse, including rape, committed by grown men, priests, against children.
And that's news and sports, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We are also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic day.